Hey everyone, today we're going to dive into the exciting new release from Anbernic, their latest Android Linux dual system handheld console, the Vita Pro. The Vita Pro shares the exact same sleek design as the Anbernic Vita we previously introduced to you. These two handheld consoles are, in terms of their physical appearance, absolutely identical. The primary distinction between them lies purely in their color options. The Vita Pro is available in both striking white and classic black, whereas the original Anbernic Vita was often in black and a sophisticated grey. Let's compare it to the original PS Vita. The original PS Vita features a 5-inch screen, whereas the Vita Pro boasts a 5.5-inch display. Additionally, the Vita Pro's body is noticeably wider than that of the PS Vita. Furthermore, while the PS Vita is equipped with just 2 shoulder buttons, the Vita Pro comes with an impressive 4 shoulder buttons. Now let's flip them over to the back. You'll notice that the backs of both handhelds are quite similar. The PS Vita has a rear touch function, but the Vita Pro, unfortunately, does not. From the rear, you can see that the Vita Pro is equipped with a 5000 mAh battery, supporting a maximum of 18-watt fast charging. The Vita Pro is equipped with the RK3576 processor. This marks the very first instance of this processor being utilized in an Android handheld device, and notably, it also offers full support for the Linux operating system. We'll test both systems out in a bit. Regarding the RK3576's performance, let's look at the Antutu benchmark score. Its Antutu benchmark score comes in at 430,000 points. Now, if we compare that to a G99 model, the G99 achieves a score of 540,000, meaning it's quite a bit higher. Now, if we compare it with the G90T model, the G90T gets a score of 460,000. In this instance, those two are actually quite close in terms of performance. Now, let's examine the detailed specifications. This handheld has 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. Within the AIDA64 software, we can identify its model. The CPU is an RK3576, featuring 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. The RK3576 is an octa-core 8nm processor, incorporating 4A 72-big cores operating at 2.2 GHz, alongside 4A 53 little cores running at 2.0 GHz. Its GPU is a Mali G52. As for the screen, its resolution is 1920 by 1080 pixels, it's 5.5 inches in size, and it offers a refresh rate of 60 Hz. It features an LCD screen. The handheld console includes a gravity acceleration sensor, enabling it to support motion sensing controls. This handheld console weighs a mere 270 grams, which is considered exceptionally lightweight for a 5.5-inch device, making it incredibly easy to carry around. The front of the handheld console is covered by a single integrated glass panel, featuring an ultra-narrow bezel screen. It incorporates a glossy D-pad and vibrant, colorful ABXY buttons. Both the D-pad and these buttons are equipped with conductive rubber pads, providing a moderate level of force feedback, not overly soft, but with an impressively strong and satisfying rebound. The joysticks are large-angle 3D Hall joysticks, featuring an RGB light strip beneath them. All other function keys employ micro-switch buttons. The 4 shoulder buttons are vertically aligned, and both these shoulder buttons and the triggers utilize micro-switches. The RG Vita Pro is equipped with HDMI output capabilities, a feature notably absent from the standard RG Vita model. Furthermore, the RG Vita Pro's Type-C port is a full-featured Type-C port, which means it supports DP output. In addition to the power and volume buttons, there is also a dedicated restart button. The Vita Pro is equipped with 2 TF card slots. The first one is intended for the Linux system TF card, while the second slot is designated for your game card. If we insert the Linux system card upon booting up, it will automatically enter the Linux operating system by default. However, even with the card inserted, we can still boot into the Android system by simply holding down the RG and power buttons simultaneously. Now let's explore the Linux system to test the handheld's performance. The Linux system is divided into 2 sections, the Game Arcade and RE games. The Game Arcade uses independent emulators, while RE games are designed to run specifically with the RE emulator. First, let's dive into the Game Arcade and check it out. On the Linux system this time, they've newly included independent emulators for the 3DS, NGC, PS2, and Wii, which is quite an exciting and substantial addition to the system's capabilities. This is our very first time experiencing the Linux emulators for these 4 specific systems, so let us check them out today. First off, let's dive into the PS2, specifically God of War 2. This PS2 emulator, it's the Linux version of Ether SX2. By pressing the RG button, we can access its menu, which is entirely in English, making it somewhat different from the Android version of Ether SX2 we're accustomed to. What's also notable is that even within the Linux system, the screen retains its touch functionality. Click on Settings, then navigate to the third option. We need to set the EE cycle rate to 60%, and the EE cycle skip must be configured for a mild undervolting. Next, the fourth option is Graphics Options, where you can easily adjust the screen's aspect ratio to either 4:3 or 16:9. Scroll down to locate the hardware download mode, and then set it to the second option, which is Disable Readbacks. With these specific configurations, we can run God of War 2 on PS2 quite smoothly at 1x native resolution. We're getting a frame rate that consistently hovers around the mid-30s, ensuring a really enjoyable and fluid gameplay experience. This means you can truly immerse yourself in the action without any noticeable slowdowns or disruptions, making your gaming session as smooth as possible. God of War 2 is quite a challenging game, so how about we switch to something a bit more lighthearted, such as Dragon Ball Z. For this particular game, we actually won't need to bother with any kind of frame rate adjustments or intricate settings. It should just run smoothly as is, right out of the box, without requiring us to fine-tune anything at all. So, we're all good to go on that front. This goes beyond what I would say is acceptable, even for these types of handheld devices. It really pushes the boundaries of what's possible, and honestly, I'm quite impressed with how well it performs. Even if it's not absolutely perfect in every single aspect, we're truly seeing the limits here. What I mean to say is that even without enabling frame skipping, in some specific scenes, you might experience a slight, almost negligible drop in the frame rate, which won't significantly impact the overall experience. But for the majority of the time, the gameplay remains consistently smooth and enjoyable. Also, I wanted to point out, if you wish to modify the emulator's default settings, you can press the select button while on the game's title. This will allow you to access the advanced system settings option, where you can make those changes. Now let's jump back in and continue to experience the thrill of Pro Evolution Soccer.
He takes the shot, and it's in. Another one. What an absolutely superb goal.
Super Robot Wars OG. Frame skipping cannot be set up in Super Robot Wars OG. It's simply not possible to enable frame skipping there, no matter what you try to do.
Whoa! All four at once.
Some netizens asked me to try out Star Ocean, so we're going to go ahead and give it a try now. Star Ocean is quite a demanding game, requiring a 50% cycle rate, a bit of undervolting, and disabling readbacks for optimal performance. After enabling these specific settings, I'm observing approximately 20 to 30 frames per second, which is a decent improvement given the game's demands. Now over here, let's go ahead and experience the 3DS emulator on Linux. First, let's take a look at the settings. Right here, you can select the screen's aspect ratio. Alright everyone, let's dive into some gameplay of The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, and really see how this classic adventure holds up. I'm pretty excited to revisit this title, as it's always a treat to explore Hyrule and tackle those challenging dungeons. We'll be focusing on the key mechanics and enjoying the epic story, so get ready for a fun journey into the world of Zelda. It stutters a bit during shader compilation. Hey everyone, a viewer asked me to try out Mario Kart, so let's give it a try and see how it runs today. It feels like the speed isn't quite reaching its maximum potential, doesn't it? It seems to be running a bit slower than it should be, and I'm not sure why. I was expecting it to perform at its peak, but it's clearly falling short of that. What do you think could be the cause of this reduced performance? I'm a little disappointed with the current speed. For 3DS games, we should probably switch over to the Android system later and use a standalone emulator. The performance should be better. Alright, next up we're going to put the NGC emulator to the test and see how it performs. We're going to see how well it runs. This NGC emulator actually seems quite suitable for playing The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, doesn't it? It feels pretty good, and I'm genuinely impressed with how well it performs for this particular game. Now let's turn our attention to the Wii emulator. We'll explore its capabilities and performance, assessing how effectively it runs a variety of games and the overall experience it delivers for players eager to revisit beloved Wii titles or discover new functionalities within the emulator's diverse offerings. Looks like playing WII games is no problem at all. However, if we try to launch the game through the RE game interface, it automatically starts up with the RE emulator. When running this way, the game will inherently have a bezel effect. The GBA emulator, when utilized within the RE emulator environment, has a default setting that automatically applies both a screen bezel and a distinctive dot matrix filter. The central image features a dot matrix scaling setting that you can adjust. Alright, next up, I'm going to try out this arcade machine and really put the joystick through its paces to see how well it executes those special moves and combos. It's fairly responsive. And on the Linux system, there's also an application center. It includes Power Media, allowing you to watch videos, along with an image viewer, a music player, a button tester, and various other functions. Next, let's boot into the Android system and experience it for ourselves. To do that, we need to restart the device, and while it's restarting, we must press and hold down the R key without releasing it. This will allow us to access the Android environment. And that's how we access the Android system. Now let's dive in and experience its gaming performance within the Android environment. First, let's take a look at the PS Vita emulator's performance. The official PS Vita emulator is already configured for us, so we just need to click to jump right in and begin playing. Regarding game downloads, I highly recommend installing this FNTS homebrew store for all your gaming needs. We'll go into the settings and change the output mode to Convert to ZIP. Then, once we've downloaded a game, we can easily install the VPK package directly within the Vita 3K emulator. This will make installing games incredibly straightforward and very convenient for us. I'll put the download link for the homebrew store in the video description. Now let's play some PS Vita games like Killzone. It's running pretty smoothly. What's more, this emulator even allows you to earn trophies. Let's take a look at some other games. Due to the inherent imperfections of the PS Vita emulator itself, many titles may not run as smoothly or reliably as one might hope, leading to occasional glitches, performance issues, or even outright incompatibilities with certain games, which can be a bit frustrating for those looking for a seamless gaming experience. So, it's not the case that all games are playable. Based on Vita 3K's official reports, around 50% of PS Vita games are actually compatible and playable. The Vita Pro handheld has specifically optimized the Vita 3K emulator, meaning that if a game doesn't have inherent compatibility issues with the emulator itself, then playing it should generally be quite smooth and trouble-free. In fact, the PS Vita emulator isn't very demanding in terms of performance, and it offers excellent support from Mali GPU. So, the performance of this handheld console is definitely more than sufficient for playing PS games. The only factor we really need to consider is compatibility. Let's fire up a round of Mortal Kombat now. Pressing the right joystick will allow you to exit the game, providing a smooth and efficient way to conclude your current play session and return to either the main menu or the system's interface. This feature ensures that you can effortlessly manage your gaming experience, allowing for quick transitions between different applications or back to the home screen. It's designed to offer maximum convenience and ease of use for all players, making it simple to navigate your gaming environment. Next, let's talk about 3DS games after installing the system. We'll be using the Azaha emulator. Earlier, when running on the Linux system, Mario Kart experienced a noticeable amount of lag. So let's take a look and see if the performance is any better, or perhaps even much better, when we try it out on the Android system. We're hoping for a smoother experience there. It definitely feels a lot smoother on Android. This is Xiao Mao, and we're here to talk about 3D Road. We'll be discussing all the ins and outs of this fantastic game, from its performance to its gameplay mechanics and everything else you need to know. Join me as we take a deep dive into the immersive world of 3D Road and uncover all its exciting features, exploring every aspect in detail. The 3D Road game runs very smoothly on Android as well, which is great to see. So on Android, the PS2 emulator has been switched over to Red Ether, and with Red Ether we can actually make use of that frame rate limiting trick now, which is great. We'll limit the frame rate to 30 frames per second. This clever trick will ensure that God of War 2 runs incredibly smoothly, without a single skipped frame, allowing for an optimal gaming experience on this system. Let's give Galaxy Ranger a try now. It seems that Galaxy Ranger performs a bit better on Android rather than on Linux, doesn't it? Yeah, this level of smoothness is definitely good enough for playing. Now let's take a look at how the streaming performance holds up. At 1080p, its decoding latency is around 4 point something milliseconds. Even after starting the game, the decoding latency remains at approximately 4-point-something milliseconds, which, while not ideal for seamless gameplay, still allows for a playable experience given the overall performance, but it's certainly something to keep in mind for those seeking the absolute lowest latency possible in their gaming sessions, especially in fast-paced titles where every millisecond counts and can significantly impact the responsiveness and fluidity of the game, ultimately affecting the player's immersion and competitive edge. Therefore, future optimizations or alternative configurations might be explored to reduce this decoding time and enhance the user experience further, striving for a more immediate and lag-free interaction with the virtual environment. Well, that's pretty much all there is to say about the streaming performance. It's actually quite good. Well, after all these extensive game tests, I'm sure you all have a pretty solid grasp of its gaming performance. The RG Vita and Vita Pro handhelds are set to hit the market on March 23rd, so if you're curious, definitely keep an eye out for them. That wraps up this video. Until next time, bye-bye.